Welcome to our weekly Forex forecast, and this is for trading for the week of December 9th to the 13th, 2019. Just a quick disclaimer here before we get started. This is for educational purposes only. Trading is a risky business, so please be careful with your money. All right, as usual, we'll start off by taking a look at our economic calendar here. So this week here will be interesting, and the two of the most important things going on, even outside of the news that we have. The first one will be UK elections. So UK elections are to be held on December the 12th, and this is going to be a big deal. So far, we have been hearing all these poll results coming out showing that that there would be Tories will be in the majority, or that's what they're predicting. Now, should that happen, that would be good for British pound, and we're likely to see British pound go up as a result of that. On the other hand, though, if we do not see a majority in the government, so that would be a cause for concern, and we could see British pound drop. Now, keep in mind there can be gaps in British pound. As a result of that, the spreads can go up really, really high. And if you recall, if you were trading during the time of the referendum there, so that was very, very volatile. So if you're trading British pound this week, I would suggest being very, very careful, especially going into the elections on Thursday here. So starting Wednesday, we are likely to see British pound becoming volatile. So just keep an eye out on it. Just accept that British pound will be volatile going into the elections and during the time of the elections and right after the elections. So that's one thing. And another thing that we have coming up, which we are getting quite close to, which is not this week, but it will be on December the 15th, we have tariffs coming into play. US and China have been trying to do a phase one deal, and till now we do not have any kind of deal in place. So at this point, if there is no deal by December 15th, the new tariffs kick in. And over the last little bit, we have seen some trouble between US and China based on the Hong Kong issue, and also one of the big problems that is coming up in terms of the agreement is that China wants US to kind of roll back all the tariffs that have been put into place, and US doesn't want to do that. And secondly, US wants China to commit to buying a certain amount of agricultural products from the US, and China is not willing to commit to the actual amount that the US wants them to buy. So those are a couple of the issues that are two or three issues that are preventing the US and China phase one trade agreement to be reached. So this week we could hear lots of comments in regards to that. So any positive comments in regards to US and China still working on the agreement and getting close to reaching an agreement, all of those will be positive, and we could see basically risk sentiment come into the market, and anything that suggests that they're not close to a deal will be negative, and we could see the risk off environment as a result of that. Okay, so let's dive into our news here. So starting the week off here, we have RBA Governor Lau speaking here. So again, the comments will be important. If the comments are positive here, then we could see Australian dollar go up. Otherwise, it could drop here. The business confidence numbers here, so if they are higher than this previous number, that will be positive for Australian dollar, and we can see it go up further. Now, CPI numbers here, so we saw PMI numbers out of China. They were really good, and as a result, Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar jumped up. So if the CPI numbers here, which is the inflation numbers, if they come in as they're expected here, which are higher than the previous ones, that would be good for Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar again. So Australia and China are trade partners, and so are New Zealand and China. And when Chinese numbers come in better than expected. We see a jump up in Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar. So keep an eye on those two. Tuesday seems fairly light here as well in terms of news. We do have GDP numbers for the British pound here. Now, pound will be impacted by the elections more so than the data that comes out this week. So just keep that in mind. The entire week, we are likely to see British pound being very volatile. And that's it in terms. So we have ZEW economic sentiment here again. This is supposed to be positive. If it's in line with expectations, we could see euro go up. Actually forgot to mention, with the parliamentary elections, we are likely to see euro move up with British pound as well. So if pound goes up, euro is likely to go up as well. So both of these currencies will be impacted by the elections. And on Wednesday here, we have new loans out of China. And then in the US session here, we have CPI numbers. Again, very important numbers. Inflation is one of the key things that the central banks track. So if these numbers are in line with expectations or higher than expectations, then we're likely to see the US dollar go up. But we also have FOMC here. At this point, the Fed is not looking to cut rates. However, again, the statement becomes very important at this point. So if they provide any kind of forward guidance in terms to when they're likely to cut rates, now that will move the markets. So just keep an eye on this. We could see volatility depending on what Fed has to say. If they keep things, if they maintain the status quo and just say that we are going to watch the data and then make a decision, that will be neutral and we're not likely to see a big impact. But any kind of commentary that that's different than what the stance is for the Fed at the moment, though that will create a move in US dollar. But otherwise, if they just stick to what they have said before, which is basically they're going to watch how things develop and then react, then we're likely to just see a neutral, so not much of a move in that case. But keep an eye on the Fed press conference here as well. So first, we generally tend to see a reaction to the Fed announcement and then the press conference, because this is where people get to ask questions and the answers to those questions can make the market move. All right, on Thursday here, we do have a Swiss National Bank, so two central banks this week. With this one here, not expecting to see much of a change. Again, a commentary is what will make a difference. If they are looking to ease the monetary policy, that would be negative for Swiss franc, and then we could see Swiss franc drop. We also have ECB here. So there's ECB monetary policy statement and the press conference. So this week, expect a lot of volatility. We have three central banks. We have US and China going on, as well as our elections for UK. So this is going to be a very, very volatile move. So just be careful. Okay, so for ECB, not expecting any sort of a change at the moment. And again, with the ECB, they have been sort of in favor of easing the monetary policy, but they haven't really made any huge moves. So again, if they stick to the status quo, then I would not expect a lot of movement in the euro. However, if they talk about any kind of further easing, that will be negative for the euro, and vice versa. If they say that the economy is strong, or they're looking for or expecting the economy to be resilient in 2020, those kind of comments will be positive for the euro, and we could see it jump up as a result. Now we have another central banker here, Bank of Canada, Governor Polas speaking. The numbers that have recently come out, the employment numbers for Canada, were not very good. And now that puts pressure on Bank of Canada to actually cut rates. So if Polas here, Governor Polas, mentions anything about easing monetary policy or cutting interest rates, that will be negative for Canadian dollar. And then we have Japanese data here as well, and which will have an impact on Japanese yen. And finishing the week off here, we have core retail sales data out of US. So again, the data, if it comes in line with expectations, that will be good. Otherwise, we could see US dollar drop. All right, so now let's take a look at our charts here. We'll start as usual with euro dollar here. We have seen that euro has been stuck in this range right now. So currently it's trading in the lower part of this range. It's staying below the 1.1100 mark, but it is a range bound at the moment. And now we have elections coming up. So in terms of the moves here, so we have ECB and elections, so expect volatility in euro here. So from weekly perspective, this is not looking too strong. We do have a neutral candle because we have pin on the top and a green candle body. So there's bullishness, but there's also rejection from 1.1100 level. So as a result, we have a neutral candle. So this one could go in either direction. So what I would look for is if it breaks through the high, then we're looking for price to go all the way into the high of the range. And should we see the Tories win the UK election, we could see this one go even further. So the win for Tories would be positive for the euro because it's likely to be positive for British pound as well. That we'll see euro move up as a result of that. So in that scenario, price is likely to move higher. On the other hand, though, if they do not win or there is some sort of an upset, we could see euro drop. And in that case, we're looking for euro to drop further towards 1.0870 or 1.0780. But at this point, I'm going to mark the two levels here. And this is where I'm going to keep an eye. If price goes through the high, we're looking for it to go all the way to 1.1420. But should it break through the low here, then we could see it drop further, potentially into 1.0780. So at this point, it's trading in a range. So I'm just looking for price to break out of the range. Whichever direction it goes, breaks out, then we'll follow in that direction. So neutral bias for euro dollar. Pound dollar here, on the other hand, we have seen a break to the upside here. So price broke out of this range, and now we have a bullish candle close for the week. As we can see, very, very strong candle close. Now it is coming into resistance, and we are getting close to the elections here. So we could see a move to the downside here for British pound. It's not likely to come all the way down here prior to the elections, but we could see some sell-off as people close positions prior to the elections. So keep that in mind. We could see a pullback here towards 1.3020. And then if Tories win the elections, I will look for a further move to the upside. So bias here for pound dollar is bullish. Just look for a bit of a pullback into 1.3020 potentially, and then a further move higher. Now, keep in mind when we had the okay, so keep in mind that it can move quite a bit, just like here when we had Brexit. See how price dropped quite a bit here. We could get moves like that. So this was over 3,000 pips here. So price can become very, very volatile. It can even go all the way into 1.4350, depending on if there is a clear majority. So expect volatility from the pound. This is the time when people can lose their accounts because of the huge spreads and the volatility in the markets. And there's nothing that the brokers can do about this. So best not to have positions in British pound, but if you're going to, then you need to have enough margin in your account in order to trade that. However, I do not suggest carrying open positions here because anything can happen in the market. Now, if there's no clear majority or Tories don't win, then we are likely to see pound move down, and it can even move all the way into the lows here. So just be careful is what I would say here. For now though, bias is bullish going into the elections. Tories are expected to win, so price is likely to go higher on a Tory win. But again, anything can happen, so be careful. All right, so looking at our Aussie dollar here, this is looking bullish here. We are still in that range that price had been trading. Bias is bullish here, nice solid candle close for the week here, and looking for price to move higher towards the top of the range. First target is 0.6900, and the second target would be 0.6930. So bias here is bullish for Aussie dollar. New Zealand dollar here, this one also broke out of this resistance here and out of the range it had been trading in for quite some time. So bias is bullish here as well. And we are close to this support resistance area. So just be careful because it could turn here. But should it go through, then we're looking for a further move to the upside. So bias is bullish at the moment. And in terms of the move here, we could get a pullback into 0.6520 and then a further move higher. So we're looking at something like this pullback and then move higher. But again, we are very close to the resistance. So if it doesn't go through it, it can come back. So this is where I would suggest being careful at 0.6600. If it stays below that level, then I will look for a drop. But for now, bias is bullish. First target is 0.6600 and then 0.6700. Dollar CAD here, this one has also been going back and forth. It is still range bound here, still neutral. Price has gone up and down in this case. So it was US dollar was strong against Canadian dollar because of the bad employment numbers that we saw out of Canada. But during the beginning of the week, we did see Canadian dollar strengthen and then it reversed. So today we have a neutral candle close for the week here. So in this case, what I will look for is a move higher towards 1.3330. If it stays below, then it's likely to drop. So bias at the moment is neutral. So we just need to see which direction price wants to move. If it breaks through the high though, we're likely to see it go higher. So 1.3380 will be the target then. But for now, bias is neutral for dollar CAD. Euro pound here, a huge drop in euro pound with all the strength that came into the pound here. So euro pound dropped as a result. So we have finally seen the price break through this support that it was struggling with for a while. So bias is bearish here. Now do keep in mind it's coming into support. So if the Tories win and we see British pound go up, this is likely to drop even more here. So the first target here would be the support level at 0.8300. So bias is bearish for euro pound. Now with the Tories winning, this one can drop all the way into 0.8100 and potentially all the way into the Brexit lows here as well. 0.7590. So basically, I would suggest being very careful with this. So when we had the Brexit referendum, we saw that British pound had dropped, and as a result, euro pound had moved up a lot. And now we have seen, and if we now see Tories winning, then we can see the opposite move and we could see euro pound drop as a result. And again, if they don't win, if there's an upset, then we're likely to see euro pound go up as a result. So anything that has a euro or and a pound in it, this week is likely to be very, very volatile. Same thing here with euro Swiss franc. This one has also been trading in a range all this time, and now we have a bearish candle close. So just based on technicals, I would expect this one to drop. But we have Swiss National Bank. We also have the elections. So this could be another upset as well, or things could change dramatically here for Euro Swiss franc. But just based on technicals, I would expect to move lower. First target would be 1.0870, second target 1.0830. Now keep in mind, it's not the technicals that move the market, it's the other stuff that comes into the market. So I would wait to see how the different things play out and then trade this going into the elections. Just be careful. Pound Swiss franc, same thing here. Right now, this is looking very bullish going into the elections. So if things come out as planned, then this is likely to move higher into 1.3400 or even potentially all the way higher. However, should things not go according to plan, then this one could have a big drop here as well. Again, if you take a look at what happened during Brexit, this was our Brexit situation referendum, huge drop in pound Swiss because things didn't play out as everyone had expected. So this is why it dropped. So if they do play out the way people are expecting right now, which is a Tory win, then we're likely to see this one go higher or vice versa. Dollar Swiss franc here, this has also been trading in a range. It's just been back and forth based on just the technicals alone here. Bias is bearish, but this week it won't be the technicals driving the market. Well, technicals never drive the market, but things won't move according to technicals more so. They will be dependent on the news and the comments and everything else. So, but based on this, bias is to the downside. It's bearish. 0.9850 is the first target. 0.9800 is the second target here. So dollar Swiss franc is looking bearish here. Pound yen, again, this has broken out of this range. Now price has moved higher. It was stuck in this range for quite some time. So based on the technicals, this is bullish. Also based on what's going on in the market, this is looking bullish. And if Tories win, we're looking for quite a bit of a move higher. It can go all the way into the tippy top here. So if you take a look at the Brexit scenario, there was a huge move to the downside, and we could basically see that move reverse now on the elections and Tory win. So keep that in mind. But if it's an upset, then it can go in completely the opposite direction. For now though, bias is bullish. And in terms of targets here, the first target would be 144, and then the second target here will be 145.80 for pound yen. Euro yen here, this one is looking bearish here. We did see price go into the support resistance level, and it has closed lower. So bias here is bearish, but this one has been trading in a range for quite some time. And again, it will be impacted by the elections. So if there were no elections, I will look for move lower towards 119.50 and then 118.50. But because of elections, if Tories win, this is going higher. And in that case, I would look for a move towards 123.60, and potentially we could even see 126.80 in that case. Same thing here. There was a big drop when the whole Brexit stuff happened, not just in pound yen. Pound yen moved a lot during that time. It probably moved the most, but euro yen did move with pound yen as well in the same direction. So whatever direction the pound moves in this week, we are likely to see euro go in the same direction as well. Dollar yen here, this one has been range bound again for a few weeks now. It's still trading in this range. We do have a bearish candle close here, so I will look for a move lower towards 108. So bias here is to the downside, a bit of a pullback potentially into 109, and then looking for a drop. 108 is the target. And if it goes below that, we could look at 107. but bias is bearish for dollar yen. Aussie yen here, this one is looking bearish actually. We see that price has rejected the support resistance level. We have a pin here, so I will look for price to drop. Now keep in mind, when there is so much volatility all over the place, all the yen crosses are likely to be impacted by that, even though euro and the pound will be the main pair or the main currency that will get impacted. Euro will be the second currency that gets impacted, but we are also likely to see large moves in the yen crosses because of this risk on or risk off environment that will get created. So keep an eye on this. So yen crosses will be impacted by both Brexit or UK elections, as well as US and China, especially by US and China trade negotiations. Those can drive the yen crosses this week, because again, if the comments are positive, we're likely to see yen crosses go up. If the comments for US and China are negative, we're likely to see yen crosses drop. So it's going to be a volatile week, no matter where you look this week. So for this one here, I would look for price to drop towards the bottom of the range here. It is still holding, still giving us a lower high. So in this case, bias still kind of stays to the downside here. So looking for a bit of a pullback and then a move lower. Target is 73.40. And if it goes below that, we are looking at 72.40. So bias here is bearish for Aussie yen. New Zealand yen here, this one has actually moved out here. So there were the comments out of Reserve Bank of New Zealand were actually quite positive, and this is what has given New Zealand dollar a lot of strength here. It broke out of the range here that it was trading in. Now it's going higher. So bias here is bullish. Now there is room to the upside before we come into this support resistance level. So bias is bullish. And in terms of the pullback, we could get a pullback into potentially into 71 level here, or slightly lower into 70.80. So bullish bias, looking for a bit of a pullback here and then a move higher. Target is 72.20. CAD yen here, this one has also been trading in this range for the last several weeks here. 4 or 5 weeks is still there. We do have a bearish candle close, so this one could drop further. Target would be 80.70. But again, keep in mind, this is right into support. If it doesn't go through the support, it can come back into the range. So be mindful of this range that price is trading in, because we had a nice bearish candle here, but then price turned around. So we could get a flip here as well. But bias is bearish based on the technicals here. Also, Canadian dollar has not been that strong based on the data that came out, employment data. So this is looking bearish here from both perspectives. So target is 80.70. So bias is bearish. And second target here would be 80. So bearish bias for CAD yen. All right, so let's move on to our commodities here. We'll start off with our silver. So we saw a big drop in silver here. So this is the daily chart. We see that price finally has broken through this support level. So bias here is bearish, and now the next level here will be 16.34. That's the target. Now, keep in mind with US and China, if they can get things to work and get the phase 1 deal signed, then we are likely to see this go back higher. So what could happen here would be price could drop, and if there's no deal, it can go back up. So keep that in mind, because this week, US and China trade deal will play a big role in the risk on, risk off environment. So if the market gets scared, silver is likely to go up. All the safe haven assets are likely to go up. And if the market is bullish that we will actually get a trade deal, or US and China will be able to sign a trade deal and come together, then this is likely to drop even further under those circumstances. So we'll have to keep an eye on this, but all of that is likely to happen before the end of the week, because tariffs are supposed to kick into play on Sunday. So prior to that is when the market will set up. So if they do sign a trade deal, or we keep hearing positive comments, and or the tariffs are delayed, all of that will be negative for the silver, and we could see price drop. In that case, the first target would be 16.35, second target would be 16.00. Now, the opposite is also true. If there's no trade deal and everybody's concerned, then I will look for price to go back up. And in that case, I'm looking for a move back into the range here, and target would be 17.25 and then potentially 17.65. So at this point, bias is bearish, but I'd be open to move on both sides. Gold here, same thing, big drop in gold, and gold has been trading in this range right now. So bias here is bearish, but we are getting very close to the range here. So same thing, if there is no trade deal, then this one could go back up. But if we keep hearing positive comments in regards to the trade deal, then I will look for this one to drop. 1450 will be the first target, and then 1435 will be the second target. But I would be open to moves in both direction for gold here as well. Oil here, oil is finally recovering here. We see a move higher, so bullish bias here. We did have OPEC meetings this previous week, so that has been positive here for the oil. Now, bias is bullish, but as we can see, price is into resistance. So last time we did see price drop off from here. So if it's not able to go through 57.70, it can come back. But for now, it is looking bullish. So the first target here is 61, and second target is 63.20. So bias is bullish for oil. Copper here, a big move up in copper on the daily. If we take a look at the weekly, we see this huge move higher, very, very close to the resistance. So this is a solid resistance here. If price gets stuck at the resistance, is not able to break through, we are likely to see a move back lower. But based on the weekly close here, this is looking quite bullish. And next target would be 2.76 there. So 2.76 will be the first target, but again, it would have to break through the resistance to get there. And then a second target we could look at is 2.80. So bias is bullish for copper. Bitcoin here, I do not have the current weekend numbers here, so please do look them up. But right now, this is still trading in a range, so we could see price just go back and forth here. My bias is neutral on this. It's still not going anywhere. Now, with the US and China trade deal getting signed, we could see movement in Bitcoin as well, because at certain points, Bitcoin has been acting as a safe haven asset. So if other safe haven assets go up, gold and silver, this could go up as well. So just keep an eye on it. For now, it is neutral, and I would look for price to trade between the two levels here, 78.80 on the top and then 68.30 in the bottom. So looking for a range bound move for Bitcoin. All right, let's take a look at our commodities here. Commodities have been very, very bullish. We did see price drop here, but all of that move has been recovered. Price has gone up now. And we can see a large pin to the downside here, which suggests a lot of bullishness in the market at the moment. So if the trade deal does not get signed, this one could turn around and drop. And we could see price essentially come back into 3060 or even lower into 3015 or 3000 level. But if the tariffs get delayed or a phase one trade deal does get signed, or as we keep hearing these positive comments out of US and China trade negotiations, all of those are likely to push the market even higher, and a target would be 32.20. So right now, just based on the way things stand here on technicals, bias is bullish, target is 32.20. Now, and just keep in mind the US and China stuff. So bullish bias for S&P 500, 32.20 is the target. Nasdaq here, same thing. Price has been bullish here. Things have been looking positive. So bullish bias here. And in terms of the targets, 84.50 is the first target. 85.50 is the second target here, looking for a move higher. Now, same thing applies here as well. US and China don't reach an agreement. I will look for a move lower towards 81.60 or even 8,000. So in this case, I would be open to moves in both directions. 85.50 is the first target, and then we are looking at 8600 as the second target. So bias is bullish for now, but just be careful. All right, so looking at our Dow Jones here, this is also looking bullish. It hasn't broken the high yet, and there is still some bearishness in the market, which means if they, again, do not sign the trade deal or the tariffs still come into play, that will be negative for the market, and I would look for a drop towards 27,350 or even lower towards 26,600. Now, should they sign a trade deal, I'm looking for this one to move higher towards 28,800 and potentially 29,000. So for now, though, bias is bullish, but with extreme caution here too. Okay, DAX here. DAX is looking bullish here. Price was stuck in a range for quite some time. Now we are back into the range here. So bullish bias, I will look for this one to go higher towards 13,300. Now, with the elections in UK, both DAX and FTSE are likely to be impacted. So they expect both DAX and FTSE to be volatile this week. We could see price basically move in either direction, but for now, this is looking bullish. 13,300 is the first target, 13,400 is the second target. FTSE here, this one was at the bottom of the range here. So it has been trading in this huge range if we take a look at it. So this is the range it's been trading in. So right now, it's still range bound. My bias on this is neutral. Again, I'm looking for UK elections to have to play quite a big role in this as well. So keep an eye and see how things play out. My bias here is neutral, basically looking for price to trade between these two ranges, 74.30 in the top and 71.30 in the bottom. But I would expect move out of this range based on the UK elections. And then last but not least, we have Nikkei. Nikkei has been trading in the range here as well, and it's back into the range. So at this point, it is looking bullish here. It's pushing into the highs. This is the range it's been trading in. So bias is bullish. Next target here would be, first target is 23,980. And then we're looking at 24,200 approximately. So bullish bias here for Nikkei. Now, again, if the US and China trade deal does not get signed, I'm expecting equity markets to drop and safe haven assets to go up. All right, so that's it for today here. If you would like the spreadsheet that comes with this, I usually put all the targets that we talked about in a spreadsheet. If you would like to access that spreadsheet, you can go to tradingwithvenus.com/forecast and you can download it. If you have already signed up for it, you do not need to sign up again because I will send it to you today. So that's it for now. Have a wonderful trading week. Be careful out there because of all the volatility this week. All right, talk to you later. Bye for now.